Hello and welcome to the iRacing Le Mans series and Apex Racing TV. We're here at Silverstone for week 8 of the championship. I'm Sam Fitzpatrick and alongside me this evening is Sam Kumo. And Sam, good to be here at Silverstone. One of our first broadcasts, certainly our first ILMS broadcast around the new Silverstone. And this, one of the WEC circuits, of course. And it's about time that we got this on the iRacing Le Mans series calendar.
Yes, it certainly has been a while because I remember what year was when they actually changed this.
2010.
Yeah, so it has definitely been a while. So I'm kind of looking forward to see actually the layout and how this track flows. I did have my first race here, just on the previous time slot, but it ended after one lap, so that wasn't really good.
Right. May I ask what went wrong on that lap?
I mean, first there was the issue of basically someone driving through me on the grid, and then just like the usual bottom split stuff, driver spinning over, and then kind of getting collected.
Right. Okay. So not the best race in the world, but hopefully we'll see a bit better than that in today. We've got an hour-long race. Of course, the drivers just completing their qualifying at the moment. I think the majority of them are on their second laps. Of course, these drivers with this pretty long lap, 5.5 kilometers, I believe, have got to be pretty rapid. They can't wait around too much. Got 8 minutes to do 2 laps and an out lap, of course.
Yeah, let's just see if we can find someone who can actually follow through the hot lap. No, everyone is finishing their laps. Okay, Nick Madsen is.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So he's basically on the section what would have been the old last corners on the old layout, and going through the old grid.
Well, of course, they've also got the new grandstands as well on the left of the circuit. It's very unique, this place. I went there for the qualifying of the Formula 1 quite recently. And, yeah, it's weird how much of a kind of a stadium it feels like. The fact that you've got packed out grandstands all around the circuit almost. It's very weird to have that atmosphere for a race. And it's pretty cool to see that trackside scenery. Of course, iRacing laser scans all these circuits and all the surroundings as well. And so it is, yeah, extremely realistic and good that they've incorporated all these elements. And I guess the silver lining to them not updating it for about 8 years, I guess the good thing is that we have got a properly up-to-date version. This was scanned just 1 year ago, and so it's got all the quirks of the current circuit, including these sausage curbs around the final sector of the lap.
Yeah, I don't know like how many changes there has been, but I would imagine that the tarmac runoff areas, they are probably that what they needed for the F1. And I guess we have 3 layouts in total for this one, as the qualify is finishing up.
And apparently you might have another one as well. Currently got the national circuit, but there's also the national long circuit, which includes Chapel, I believe, in the circuit. So they might add that as well. Could iRacing? So you could have 4 layouts, and of course, hopefully they scan the Stowe circuit and Rallycross circuit as well. But well, quite sure about that one. Anyway, we're using the Grand Prix circuit today. The Rallycross circuit, I must say, in these cars would be entertaining if they could possibly grid up in the first place, seeing how many cars we have today. Top of those drivers is Dominic Farber. He was on pole position by 0.2 of a second over Ricardo Orozco. Then it's Fabrice Cornelis, Ismail Yakubu, Cy Andra, and Matt Farrow. Farrow, of course, leader of the championship. So down there in 6th place, struggling seemingly. Also top driver in the iRacing highlights, you few people would have seen earlier today posted on iRacing's YouTube. Then it's Jose Plagazulus Langer, in 7th, and Patrick Pelchat in 8th. Then it's Ruslan Barim Kulov and Klaus Dietrich Schultz. And then the HPDs, Alex Trainer continuing his good form on pole position. They're ahead of Johan Hart. Jeremiah Morton wasn't confident going in today. That's a pretty good 3rd place for him. Chris Williamson, good to see him back in the car in 4th. And then it's Jonathan Dance in 5th place. In the GTEs, we got Sasha Engelhardt, really good qualifying for Sasha there, ahead of Dino Filippa. Then it's Kane Halliburton, a driver who's seen a few times on the Apex Racing TV YouTube channel. Dominic Push, Nick Madsen, and Attila Tassi rounding out the top 6 there. And sounds quite good that we've got quite a strong amounts of HPDs. We sometimes don't see too many of them, but that looks like a really competitive class today with many drivers who have won races in this split before.
Yeah, it's a really nice split between all 3 classes. I'm seeing we have about exactly 10 LMP1s and 12 LMP2s with 16 GTE, so I think that's almost like the perfect split that we could get.
Yes, almost almost realistic, I guess. Maybe a few more GTs and a few less LMP1s, but well, you wouldn't want about 10 LMP1s in the real life thing. That's very short formation lap here. Started on the hangar straight. It's Dominic Farber from the pole position. Going to be awkward for all these 3 classes coming round this final section of the circuit. But away goes Dominic Farber. Ricardo Roscoe, I think, already losing out to Fabrice Cornelius right at the start, going off the circuit almost as the race starts. But fantastic start for Farber. Cornelius has got ahead of Roscoe, and Andrea's got ahead of Yakubu. Also, Farry making that move as well. So good start for the championship leader.
Oh, and here's a
still
small
leads.
contact.
Yeah. Langer just going off the circuit, and he's very wide as well, the number 3 car. And kind of getting shuffled down the order currently after making a decent launch. Trainer still leading the way in the HPDs, by the way. Hart in 2nd, Morton in 3rd. Forzons has gained a couple of places, but that's pretty much as significant as it's got in that class. And Sergio Engelhardt still leading the way in the GTEs. He's ahead of Dino Filippa. No changes in the top 4 there. Good start for Tassi. Very poor start though for Nick Madsen, who's dropped down 10 places after starting in 5th place.
It looks like Nick also has some damage to the right front corner of his car. And have a really close battle here with Colodjets running almost off the track completely. I think that might also be a slowdown, so he has to give up the position there.
Yeah, getting a little bit argy-bargy on that opening lap. Usually, we see those GTEs gets away, but it's hardly surprising when you've got such a big field that they do come to blows occasionally. You can see how close currently Push is getting to. Oh, sorry, Tassi is getting to Push. Only 1/10 of a second. He's going to be really close going to Magnus and Beckett. That's not really an overtaking opportunity. And yeah, we'll just stay behind, but of course, great chance of going into Stoke. Plenty of opportunities to slipstream around this circuit, which these guys will take advantage of. Certainly one of the easiest circuits to overtake with the width of this place, I imagine.
Yeah, look at the LMP1s. It seems like Farber is really nailing down this lap track and already 1.3 seconds ahead of Cornelis. Sayandra was really close just a moment ago, but it seems like he suddenly dropped back, and now he's coming under pressure from Ricardo Orozco and Matt Farrow.
Yes, podium position under a bit of dirt, maybe using a bit of energy at the start of the race. Up 2 places is Anja, so he's very pleased with that one. Got past Orozco and Yakubu initially as Barrow trying to go for a move now, going into Cop's corner. This is going to be ambitious in his Audi R18. Backs out of it though, almost flats out, I imagine, for those cars around Cop's corner. And for Maggots and Beckers as well, pretty much flats out there, just having to brake a little bit for Chapel. Very pleased to actually know the majority of the corner names. Usually I'm just going the left-hander, that corner over there, but I know a few of these corner names. It's rare.
Well, it's a good thing that one of us knows those.
When we go to Finland in the future on iRacing, you are going to be absolutely nailing it. Or maybe Germany as well, seeing that you maybe you've learnt all them over there.
Well, not yet. There was the Hockenheim race, but just didn't have a chance to go this year.
No. Would have been a good race to go to. I mean, you would have got a
I
bit
imagine.
wet, but
Yeah. But I think Austria might be closer for me to just go and see the F1 race there. As we are back in the LMP2 class, we have great battles here on the second half of the field. Sank Verarden had some issues there and now is climbing back up again, putting pressure on Secek.
yeah, Fordon lost 3 places, I think, on this lap. He was up 2 places from his start. He's now 1 place down from his start. So disappointing there for Calvin. But yeah, as you were saying, Sam, he's placed in on the driver ahead. Almost flat out again for these HPDs through those first couple of corners. And we've got to be very patient around these couple of hairpins, one of the couple of slowest corners on the entire circuit. And now Fordon will really try to challenge his rival. Maybe change of second place, sorry.
Yes, actually change the lead.
Yeah, change
Something
the lead,
happened to Alex Trainer.
Johan Hart is now into the race lead, the former champion in this car, in this series. And he's got ahead of Alex Trainer, the winner 1 week ago. And it was just a bit of a simple move. I think Hart getting really close coming out of the second hairpin, having good straight line speed. And simply to the inside, Trainer didn't put too much resistance. I remember Hart one time we came here, put it on a very high downforce setup, and was losing time even in slipstream down the straights, and he just couldn't make a move for the entire race. Well, he'll be glad to get that move in the bag, and well, I think he might be able to pull away now.
Yeah, let's see. On the previous grammar shot, I just noticed how much curb these guys are using on the exit of the... okay, you probably remember the corner name, but it seems like they are... Yes, though, yeah. They're completely off the racing line there, and so I'm surprised that there's no slowdown or incident points given at that point.
Yes, and it is for corners like that where I kind of think, sure, iRacing do laser scan these places. Just make a couple of changes though. Just put like a sausage curb. I realise it's not totally realistic, but the curbs change every year anyway, and just add an extra curb there just to so that there's no temptation to go out there. Of course, the off-track system does somewhat tolerate the drivers, but doesn't quite suffice, I'd say, as many drivers will feel after the Spa 24 hours a few weeks ago. Trainer dropping a little bit further back behind Hart, but he stay within 0.6 of a second. But Hart usually so consistent, it's going to be tough for Trainer to stay close. Fraser Williamson, who didn't have a particularly good qualifying, up from 4th place on the grid, and he's looking pretty rapid at the moment on that last lap, placed in on Trainer by 0.8 of a second.
Just taking a look at where the LMP1s are coming. There's, I think, only 2 or 3 laps until the LMP1 leader Faber will catch up to the GTE field, which is... Well, unfortunately for him, it seems like the GTEs are not really that spread out at this point, and he is catching up really rapidly.
Yeah, he's going to be on them by the end of this lap, I think. Really catching fast is Dominic Faber. He is about 18 seconds a lap faster than the tail enders of the GTE class. Good to see all these LMP1s quite so close. I remember, Sam, in the early days of this series, and it still happens a little bit, but this car was very much... you had to put in a lot of effort, and it was only the top drivers who could really succeed in it. Seems like all the drivers now in this car have really closed up to one another, and they're much more evenly matched.
Yeah, it seems like the field is much more evenly spread out. It might also be that because they've already driven like half a season here, even the new drivers to this series this time for this season have already like a baseline setup that they can run. So there's less guesswork and figuring out how going on through every week, and now they have baseline that they can just pull from one of the previous rounds. For this round, maybe something a little bit more high downforce, for example.
Bob's going to get held up around Club and Vale. And you can see, well, we go to the inside here. Yeah, well, that's the acceleration of the LMP1. Really showing to you right there. Absolutely lightning fast. The Porsche 919 and the Audi R18. Cornelius keeping a pretty even gap. Gap stays at about 1.2 seconds. Cyandra has lost some time to Matt Farrow, though, in all of that. Farrow really closing in now to go for a surprise move here. Those are the two corners which I don't know, I must say. And this one as well. But this is the Village, I think? It's Village Straight, not sure. Wellington Straight, apologies. And Farrow actually not applying too much energy, not going for the move into Brooklands.
And again, really close. Cyandra just getting constantly held up by this traffic. And this is also
right
not
up
helping.
to his rear, so
Yeah, this is also not helping Farrow because when Sai is going alongside a GT car, he really cannot just dive in there. I mean, 3 wide is just not a good idea.
or just about gets through that. That was ambitious from Farrow. Always risky to do everything to follow your opponent through because it can really surprise the driver behind or the GT driver. But Farrow really can't get the move done at the moment. Just doesn't seem to have enough energy available to go for the move. Maybe into club he'll go for it this time, but constantly a couple of tenths of a second behind. Just have a little bit of extra energy available right at the end of this lap. The line comes up quickly. They can recharge their battery nice and quick, but or at least recharge their allowance nice and quick. Barrett's still sitting behind, and now actually catching up to them again is Ricardo Orozco. Nice driving there from Matt Barrett. Oh, Andrew compounds his issues. Yeah, now leads us another second, and he's very distant from that podium place that he owned for quite for much of this race. Now under pressure from Orozco properly. Also, Yakubu versus Baram Kulov. And Yakubu loses that place then. So Baram Kulov then up 3 places from P9 on the grid. So having a nice run of it. Ruslan, a driver who we only really were introduced to in the past couple of weeks, but he's really impressed since he's joined and seemingly making some good improvements as well currently. Still got Largo as well pretty close to these guys. Also, issue for Dominic Push. That was with Kane Halliburton, I believe. Oh, doing another Burlich. Yes. Burlich drops down to 14th position. So great disappointment for him. He gained a couple of places, I believe, so far in the race, but drops all those positions and 3 extra, so 3 places down from his grid place. Remarkably, very few retirees so far. We've got 1 GT similarly stuck in the pits, College, and also DeForge as well might not be back out. So also he's 1 lap down and maybe with some pretty serious damage. There goes Williamson. And having to defend from Mortson now. So Williamson, who was all over the back of Alex Trainer. And what's happened there, Sam? Because that last lap from Williamson was fine. right. So Williamson with issues. Yeah, he's managed to repel that attack now. Just starting to pull away a little bit. Now Dance setting his sights on Morton. Morton did send a message to us earlier on saying, I'm really not very comfortable around this circuit. And my response was, I'm sure you're going to do well. Good luck. Well, he's doing okay. You know, he's fighting with Fraser Williamson, who's a pretty accomplished driver in this car. But for Morton's high standards, of course, championship leader, he'll be a little bit disappointed with this. Oh, okay. Apology. Okay. I mean, I was very on the fence there, to be fair. So hopefully nothing will happen. Myers is 2.5. So. Halliburton keeping up with Felipe, apparently. Half a second between second and third. Would you say the BMW is the strongest car around here? Sam, I would have thought the Ferrari, which isn't too strong round the fast bends, wouldn't be too good round here, but does the BMW suit this place? Need to see the Ford back. It's the best GTE. But I mean, I remember. I don't know if you remember, Sam. The week before, or the week after, sorry, the Ferrari and the Ford were released. Of course, you had the Ford, which every time it hit a curb, it absolutely just exploded, and it became pretty much undrivable in that Le Mans 24 hours. And ever since then, they just haven't. It's never been on par. It's never been the fastest car. It's so odd. Not one in the GT3s. It switches round, but not in the GTEs. It's always the Ford, the slowest of them. Oh yeah. Nice battle. This is Namella forced off the circuit. Will he pick up a slowdown for that one? He was a long way from the circuit. I believe this is in Northamptonshire. Yes, it is. That was a good guess. I'm not. This is right on the border of another county, but I can't remember what county it is. But no, it was almost outside of Northamptonshire there at Stoke. And Namella seemingly not picking up a slowdown, so Kai is on his way. One of the 5 RKE Racecraft Esports drivers. Good to see them back on ApexRacingTV. They're a quickly emerging team, no doubt, and they're building drivers in lots of different series. David Toth now under pressure as well from... sorry, he's trying to pressurize Dennis Needhart. Down the inside he goes into Lovefields. And just about makes it work. Very nearly contacts there with the from Needhart just behind. But Toth is through and up into 8th place. Two rows of 3 cars going into Marcus and Beckett. Not usually the best way to go through it, and now we got half the cars off the circuit, everyone flying from one side of the track to another. But quite remarkably, I don't think there's been any significant contact. We've almost got 4 wide there, just about making his way through on the inside one of the LMP1s, and now getting blocked off the circuit again. 4 wide for a moment there with the driver off the circuit. And this is the second time, of course, the LMP1s have got past the GTEs, the first time that the HPDs have got past. And constantly seeing 3 wide, it's difficult to piece together who's driving what, but Push still ahead then of Jacobson. With Burlich now 1.5 seconds behind these guys. Yeah, because they can... Yeah, seemingly they've got their way through now. It's got Dominic Barber leading the way, only 1.4 seconds ahead of Fabrice Cornier, so that gap maintaining. Barry's looking very strong. Barry on that lap was the fastest LMP1 of anyone. And he's still running a solid 3rd place. The championship leader had a poor qualifying to Barry, qualified down in 6th place, but coming back in the race. Ricardo Roscoe quite distant now in 4th. Baram Kulov has just got past Syanja. So Anja, who was running up in 3rd place early on, down into 6th now. And Baram Kulov, who started in 9th place, up into the top 5. We'll be very pleased with that. Also, Largo with a bit of an issue, dropping... I'll say no, guys, just a bit of connection issues there. Here is Baram Kulov. Yes. Yes. Those. Currently 33 degrees Celsius. The track temperature 21 degrees air, which, well, to be fair, is pretty realistic of today's weather in the UK. Unless it was, you know, the Sahara in Northamptonshire, they think it was. Oh. Yeah, Farrow's got past. He was very close. He was within a couple of tenths of a second. I think he just got it done into Brooklands. And up into 2nd place. We were doubting Matt Farrow earlier on. He slowly made his way through, and he's now just 1 second off the race lead. These 3 could have a classic a three-way battle for the win. Got through the traffic. Farrow seems to have really taken advantage of that traffic, but now he's got to make it pay in the clean air. Here comes Cornelis to the outside into Stoke. He's going to try to hang it all the way around. A lot of downforce these LMP1 cars produce. Tried to go to the inside, going into Club and Vale. Gonna have to go all the way around the outside. Probably the wise thing to do, just to try to get the cut back. But the cutback, not too useful. These cars so good with their four-wheel drive traction control as well. Easy gets the power down, does Barrett, and Connie stays behind. Largo's just got past Bam Kulov actually for a moment. Bam Kulov all of a sudden struggling. He was a man on a mission until a couple of minutes ago. Now on this lap 15, he's falling back down the places.
I think you can see what's happening here on the screen right now. There's plenty of drag. It's both the LMP2s and GTEs. Also, as I remember to turn my microphone again.
So Bam Kulov actually now setting his sights on Anja just ahead. So it wouldn't be surprised if he makes another move. Unfortunately, we can't see how many incidents these drivers have. It could be a danger for these guys. Wasn't too much of an issue at Spa. Have you visited Spa recently? I swear one of the recent races was Spa.
Yeah, it was.
Yes, and it wasn't too bad there. So, and that's the toughest circuit, that and Kota. But this place is pretty high on the list as well.
Yeah, our system kind of gives us an idea, but it's a bit more sensitive to giving the incident. So for us, it's showing that Faber and Faro would be at 13, when the rest of them are less than 10. But I think we maybe assume that Faber is around 8 and these guys around 5. So there is definitely some incidence points that you pick up when you're going really fast through the chicanes and everything else, just cutting the track. But I don't see any major issues here, as long as you don't get too greedy with the curbs.
Williamson and Morton are very close to one another, and well, I think we're connected telepathically, Sam, because we immediately thought that. Here we go, side by side between Dance and Myers now. So Myers gets involved in this one, and Dance, who's pretty much just been sitting casually in that 5th place all race long. Well, he's not sitting casually anymore, and here's Williamson under big pressure now, and there's surely going to be contact. It is contact, and Morton got away from that cleanly. Dance just about gets back going the right way, but Myers has lost lots of time from that one. Went sliding off. Fordon really plays in on these guys now, and how Dance didn't lose more time there. Here was Myers, and I think he was the innocent party in this. Oh, what? Well, he kind of made the contact, to be honest. Just tapping the rear as Dance had to get on the brakes to avoid Morton, and just about missing them was Calvin Fordon. So he's casually waltzed up to that battle. He's now sitting pretty close and with a decent chance of a podium.
Yeah, I'm just surprised how well Myers was able to actually recover from that. Did a nice 360 there and didn't end up in the walls. But he did end up right with David Zapata. So that's really close between them. Also, that's Calvanti behind them. Let's just look back up again. Here is really close between Williamson and Morton again. Morton making the move on the outside. Is there a grip there?
Struggling on the grip there, isn't he? Maybe just on the marbles. Williamson, who looked really strong earlier on. Oh, as we got side by side just behind as well. Is that Fordon making the move on Dance? So Dance's 5th place was under pressure on the last lap. But, yes, under pressure on this lap as well. Williamson went for a very ambitious move going into turn 1, and then they made contact, I think, with the GTE. You can see him now off the circuit. But Williamson keeping that 3rd place. I wonder with a bit of damage there. And, well, I'm not sure if he already had that damage, but there is some damage on that side of the car.
Yeah, we didn't quite see the contact between the GTE. But if there is damage, I think it will show up even on the lap times. Oh, that was really close with the GTE. Morton really close the line. And I think Dance kind of paid for it, as the GTE had to make some avoiding moves there. Now Ferran is making the move on the outside, but there is no room. That is really uncomfortable for the Bimber.
That's
Dancing
the
on the
race
inside
leader
and...
as well.
Really?
Yeah,
Ah,
that was
yes, it
Engel
was.
Haas. I think it must have been. It must have been Dino Felipe then who got hit off at turn 1 by Fraser Williamson. I say hit off by Williamson. I mean, I looked at it out of the corner of my eye, so I'm hesitant to make judgments, but it certainly looks that way to me at least. I think Williamson's lost out anyway, as here we go. Oh, and
no.
off goes Williamson. That's a high-speed crash down the hanger straight, and now he's stuck in the middle of the track. Fortunately, he gets back to the pits nice and quick. And that was, I think, a bit over-aggressive that time from Jeremiah Morton. He's tried to go for the dummy, I think. I don't know. What do you think, Sam?
It looked like he was just trying to make the move for the dummy, but kind of ran out of the track and just lost control. I think like Williamson was way too far to the right for Morton to really have any space left there, so maybe small misjudgment there.
Yeah, it
which
would have been.
unfortunately ended up in a big incident.
If he'd pulled it off, I mean, that would have been pretty epic. But the fact is he didn't. And, well, he might still get the place out of this, Jeremiah Morton, but maybe he won't be getting any Christmas cards in return from Fraser Williamson. Zapata
No.
then?
Yeah, based on what
past
Fraser said
Myers.
on the chat, no, he won't be getting cards.
Yes. Zapata then has gained a couple of places recently. Gets, of course, past Williamson. And he's just got past Myers as well. So, good for him. He is 8 seconds now behind Fordons. He's also benefited quite a bit from those last few laps. It's a bit of a shame that, you know, we had that really cool 5-way battle or so. And a couple of them have gone missing now. And that's HPD field not looking quite as entertaining as was. Still got Dance versus Fordons. As we've got a bit of an off in the background there. That's Cavalcanti. Apologies. And he's only just ahead of Scothman now.
See, we have first pit stop, that's for Verdant, and that might actually be just because of the repairs already. So that promotes Morton and Dance, at least temporarily.
Not too much going on in the GTE class. Still Sasha Engelhardt leading the way, 4 seconds ahead of Dina Filippa. Again, Halliburton's been close to Filippa for pretty much the entire race, half a second behind. But he's never really got particularly close in terms of making a move. Ryan Lockwood, after a good start, running in 4th place. Marco Nomella in 5th. David Toth has had good pace in 6th place. He's up, I think, 10 places in class. It's really impressive from him. Then it's got Dennis Neidhart, Andros Hajnavar, and Nick Madsen. Madsen on the comeback trail after a very disappointing first couple of corners.
Yeah, he is on the comeback, but his last lap was very slow, so it seems like he got some issues in the last sector. And that car doesn't look completely straight. No, it's a little bit bent on the right side, I think.
So 32 minutes into the race, over halfway. Expect the pit stops to be completed between kind of the 40 and 45 minute mark, I imagine. Although I always sound so sure, I think. But I'm not quite sure. To be fair, Sam, you probably know how far the GTEs will go. Is this a particularly high fuel consumption circuit?
It's not a high speed, so I would expect that we can go noticeably longer than Spa or Monza. So just a wild guess, but let's say the GTEs can probably do 45 or 50 minutes, at least the BMWs. If any previous races are any indication here.
We've had some pretty high speed.
Oh, Farber coming together there with the
Was
GTE
there
leader.
contact?
Yeah. Small contact with Engelhardt.
At least from what I can see, Faber not with too much visible damage, but you never know what's going on underneath the car. We've seen that in the past with LMP1s going over the curbs at Monza at the first chicane, and really just wrecking their pace, and that's very much unrepairable damage. Even if he did have the time, of course, to stay in the pits for a few extra seconds to get it fixed. Now he needs 0.4 of a second ahead of Matt Farrick. Conley is keeping up with these guys. These three ever so evenly matched. It's really good to see these guys go at it. Here comes Farrick, though, 0.4 of a second behind. Does he have a bit of extra energy? Now down to 0.3 of a second. Do you think he's going to go for it into Stoke? But getting held up now as Faber. Can Farrick use that to his advantage to really get a good launch out? He's going to try to get past his rival, and that is a very nice move there from Matt Farrick. Car number 1 gets it done into Vale. And now, after starting in 6th position, up into the lead.
Yeah, very nice move there, using the traffic to his advantage. And now even there he blocked the line for Cornelis. Sorry, for Farber. And Farber really fell back already 1 second down. And Cornelis is actually catching up to Farber now. As long as he can clear this LMP2 in a short manner. But I think right now we are kind of waiting and seeing when these guys will come into the pits. And it might be a good moment to promote a new series that we have coming up.
Yes, the Apex Racing League's British GT series, featuring 6 rounds, around 5 British circuits, and Spa as well, just like the real-life British GT series, and features the GT3 and Porsche Cup cars. 2 different classes, of course, for that, and starting next Sunday evening. And well, for details on how to sign up and more details about the series, certainly do check out our pinned post on our Facebook page. Also 2 races, by the way. First race 20 minutes, second race a random reverse grid, and double length 40 minutes for that one. So certainly hope that you sign up. Around 30 sign-ups already, so looking like pretty good, but we are a little bit low on Porsche sign-ups. Also, if you win, you get 100 quid to go towards a Immortal race model, which are absolutely awesome. Check out their Facebook page as well. You can get like a 1 to 18 scale model with your own livery on. Super high quality stuff that, and yeah, 100 quid to go towards that. So yeah, check out our Facebook page for more details.
Just to clarify, you mean Sunday next week, not this Sunday?
Not this Sunday, next Sunday.
Correct. Next week Sunday. Next Sunday is this week, but it's not. It's not next Sunday, which is.
I mean,
2 days from now.
When I say next Sunday, if I meant this Sunday, I'd say this Sunday, not next Sunday. That, yeah, I mean, the English language doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It is the next Sunday. That's it's this Sunday. I feel like I'm going around in circles, just like these guys are at the moment.
Yeah.
Of course, you'll be signing up, Sam, and I must say, with the current Porsche entry list, you've got a pretty good chance of getting a Immortal model, which should be pretty cool. I must say, if I wasn't organising it, then I would certainly be signing up for the Porsche class, because it'd be a pretty good investment.
Yeah, I was pretty excited. Then I saw that Jamie has also signed up, so that might be the no chance for win there, as Faro comes in for the pits. So Faro is making a really early pit stop here.
Farrow was leading, of course. So yeah, that's
Yes.
what they pit so early, isn't it? I mean, I keep on doubting Matt Farrow for this entire season, and yet he always seems to finish first. Whatever happens to him during the race, he just always seems to have that extra bit of pace when it really matters to deliver. And but you can see how much clean air Faber is in. And it'll be interesting to see where Barry comes back out onto circuit in terms of traffic. I think, to be fair, I think Barry's okay as well. He's not. He'll have a few HPDs to pass, but that'll be it. Actually, he won't have any GTEs, so that's not too bad for Matt Barry either.
Yeah, that's just one HCP right there, and then it's a long way. Well, relatively long way until the LMP1 LMP2 leader. But I wonder if there's...
just got past Baron Kulov, sorry.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if there's a difference between the fuel consumption between the Porsches and Audis, because Matt Farrow is the leading Audi here. So he did pit one lap earlier, so maybe the Porsches can here go one lap further. As we see Farber Cornelis coming in for the pit stop.
Cornelius,
and we
much
see
better on the brakes there.
Yeah.
I wish they didn't have the painfully slow pit limits. I do kind of understand it. I must say, at the end of a race, is it worth going down the pit entry because you cut that last section of the circuit? I'm not sure if it would actually gain you any time, but I don't think it leaves you much time. But I don't know if anyone's ever tried that before. Under safety car, you would definitely be going faster if you went down there. So I mean, do that, guys. In real life, probably, but also on
Yeah, but
iRacing. Here comes Farrow.
yeah, he's maintaining the lead, and where is Fabrilis? Cornelis, sorry. He is
Fablinas,
way...
did you say?
Yeah. He's way behind. That is a huge gap, actually.
Yeah, longer pit stop. Barber was really long pit stop. So Farrow, I think we saw this earlier on in the season when Farrow was racing with Hamilton. And I think they were really like neck and neck for the entire race, and then Farrow made like 6 seconds in the pit stop. I think it was to do with the Audi using less fuel. But then if it used less fuel, you would go further into the race, you would think. So
Yeah, exactly. That's
sure.
what I'm thinking. Unless Audi is limited to smaller tank.
What is Schultz driving?
Audi.
Oh, well, he had a short pit stop as well. Matt Farrow and Schultz are the only drivers who have got less than 14-second pit stops. Less than 13.5-second pit stops. And they had 10 and 11 each. Cornelius was the fastest Porsche with 13.5, so... I mean, they might just run out of fuel with 2 laps to go, in which case, it just happens to be that the Audi drivers are not very good strategists.
Yeah, but that could definitely be something there, that maybe the pit stop advantage is on Audi.
All the HBDs have pitted, by the way. Did they just pit? No, they pitted a couple of laps ago. Sorry, have we already watched all the HBDs come in?
Yes, they just came in all. Everyone has made their pit stop in the LMP1 and LMP2. I think we kind of missed the LMP2 pit stops when we were looking at the LMP1s.
Right. Still hard, leading by 18 seconds. This is back to old dominating Johan Hart. I think it was Pascal Stix and him. Always had a fantastic duel, those guys. Alex Trainer certainly emerged as one of the top drivers in the HBD class. Great to see, particularly these two guys sticking with this car in this series, in this split for such a long time. We really do appreciate it for putting on a show for us every week. And of course, yeah, Morton in 3rd place, actually catching up to Trainer. Down to 2 seconds now. I think earlier on in the race he was about 6 seconds behind. So Jeremiah Morton, who had that crash with Fraser Williamson earlier on, thought he may have picked up a bit of nose damage, but seemingly none of it. And he's really catching up to the driver currently sitting in second position.
That's really surprising because there's definitely damage on Jeremiah's back half of the car. But yeah, the trainer is suddenly losing a lot of time. The previous lap time was 1 second slower, and again this lap he has lost 2/10 in the first sector, half a second in the second sector, so there's something going on maybe with the trainer. I don't know if he is struggling with the damage or is there maybe some issues with the tires. But Jeremiah is catching up really quickly.
Yeah, we'll compare these lap times. Half already cost 47.47. That is a fantastic lap time. Just because of the OCV. Trainer 48.9 and Morton 48.17. That's another 7/10 of a second gained. And the clouds are looking ominous for Alex Trainer currently, really losing significant time in the number 20 car. Even Jonathan Dance only a further 5 seconds behind was actually matched him on that last lap. So he should be okay from Dance at least. Pit stops occurring in the GTEs. Still, this man, Sasha Engelhardt, hasn't come into the pits yet. Kane Halliburton, the highest up driver to have pitted, was running in 3rd place. Had a 9.3 second pit stop, which seems fast enough. Trying to do the undercuts on Dino Filippa. Filippa hasn't come into the pits to cover that one off, though. He's clearly confident in his own ability to maybe even extend that gap. You can see he's in clean air currently, so do not blame him one bit.
Yeah, right now we are seeing few other drivers, Madsen and Jacobsen, also coming for the pit stop, so I would imagine that Engelhardt, Philippa and Lockwood and everyone else basically will be making their pit stops this time by. And also this keeps confusing me, this old pit lane. Like, I keep imagining that okay, they are coming in, but no, it's not here.
Still, that old pit lane actually more practical than the new one. Apparently, it's got the paddock is a bit bigger, and so when they have MotoGP around here, they use the old pits, I believe, or at least use it for some of the categories. Still, the new pits looks pretty cool. Although I would say the fact that it's like below the rest of the circuit is a bit rubbish for fans. You know, as a fan from that opposite grandstand, you won't be able to see the cars, what's going on in the pits. Unfortunately, they're about 5 feet below the circuit, and so can't see too much. Here comes Sasha Engelhardt, and this is how slow the pit lane is. You can imagine if it was normal pace, you could gain a bit of an advantage on the last lap by cutting across that final corner, but so slow that there's not much of an advantage in it. Philippa also into the pit. So the thing that we really need to watch out for is where Kane Halliburton is in comparison to Dino Filippa. Halliburton had a 9-second pit stop. Engelhardt 10 seconds. Filippa 10 seconds as well. It could be close here between Halliburton. He's coming around the final corner to start his 25th lap of the race. This is for P2. And I think Filippa isn't going to get out to the pits in time. It's going to be Kane Halliburton then to take a comfortable 2nd place, really. He is 2.5 seconds ahead now of Dino Filippa, and that undercut has worked a treat.
So the order is as follows after the pit stop. Engelhardt leading with Halliburton overtaking Filippa for the 2nd place, and Filippa now good. And we do have some movement here on the around top 5 with the Lockwood and Nurmala, and I believe that is Tots.
Toth catching up to Namella. Here he goes into Brooklyn. It's going to be a brave move. Deep on the brakes goes the number 24 car. And he's got it done. Well done there to David Toth. He's had a terrific race so far. And after starting, I think in around maybe 12th position, something like that, he's up into the top 5 ahead of Marky Namella. It's only 9 tenths of a second off Brian Lockwood as well. Could be a very good day for David Toth, whose iRating is a bit lower than Lockwood's, similar to Namella's. Lockwood is sitting at 6,200 and Toth at 4,100.
Something just happened in the LMP2 class for Jamie Lee Myers. Oh, is this coming together with the GTE? Yes, it is. And was that enough damage to really cause a retirement? It seems so. So is that our first... no, we did have Williamson and Sekcek retiring, but... that is really unfortunate for Meyers.
Was running in about 6th place, was fighting for a podium earlier on. Long way from that now. Here comes Trainer and Mortson. Trainer right on the tail of Mortson. Sorry, Mortson's already got the move done, hasn't he? Apologies.
Yep.
He's overtaken him quite recently. Had a massive overspeed. Mortson's still trying to come back. That's going to be quite... oh, sorry. Trainer trying to come back. That's going to be quite far behind. It's usually... oh, dear. And Trainer's made contact there with the BMW. I don't think that was Trainer's fault, I must say. That is the number 24 car of David Toth, who I was just praising massively, and Toth then just unfortunately hits Alex Trainer there, and now he's under pressure from Namella as well.
Yeah, this is always difficult when you're in a battle of your own, and then you also need to keep in mind the approaching faster classes, so that is one of the challenges with multi-class racing, really. You need to almost have 2 eyes in front and 2 eyes to the back, just to see what's going on everywhere around you.
And a few eyes to the side as well.
Yeah, that would help as well.
Fraser Williamson, so to say, isn't the happiest bunny in Northamptonshire. And there are a few of them out there. I've seen that a few times. I remember, yeah, I think it was a hare running across this part of the circuit actually in 2008. Haven't seen any for a while. Maybe they all weeded them out in the track recall. Hopefully not. Anyway.
Yeah, I was wondering where you were going with that segue. Oh, and again, now we have change of places here with the Normal and Toth, just as we got off from them.
So Namella back ahead.
What has happened? I think we have issue for Trainer.
Oh dear. That's caused him to lose a lot of places. Alex Trainer, who was running in the lead in the early stages, started from pole position actually. Long way away from that now. He's behind Dance, Cordons and Zabata. Might be able to catch and pass Zabata, but he has been struggling for pace in this past 15 minutes or so. And Trainer, who won last time out, I believe, at Road America, it's not going to happen today.
So as we enter the last 10 minutes of the race, it seems like the battles are really centering around the GTE class. Here we got Madsen and Bush going for it. As they're also dealing with the LMP1s.
Push had an issue earlier on, didn't he? I think. Madsen had his issue right at the start of the race. Push a few laps later. And really closing in, going into Magnus and Beckers. I don't think that was just a slipstream. Maybe Madsen having to fuel save a little bit. they're by themselves. They're 9 seconds behind Neidhart. They're 18 seconds ahead of Souza. And so these guys can be pretty free to race. Here comes Push, much better straight line speed than Madsen. We're going to see 3 wide. LMP1's going to get involved as well. Madsen got his nose on the inside there. Can he keep the position? Just about gets across. And I must say, I think Madsen was hoping for the best there. Don't think he got the message from his... Oh, has he made a contact with the LMP1 there? Madsen with a mistake. Push gets past and Madsen will be annoyed with that one. Defended well through Stay, but then an unforced error going into Club. So Push has been waiting for that move for a while, so...
Yeah, also that say, but it seems like Alex Traynor has retired from the race, so...
Ah.
I don't know, maybe there was some damage that he was just dealing with. And it was perhaps not worth the risk to continue with the car.
Pretty disappointing for Alex there. I mean, personally, usually when I retire from races, I'm only running in P10 anyway. It's not that disappointing, but Alex, he was leading the race earlier on, and that's going to be quite a bit of iRacing gone, which, well, I don't know what other Class E races. I'm sure we'll get into this bit next week as well anyway. Does need to get his iRacing up a little bit, though, for the Le Mans week. We are visiting Le Mans in 2 weeks' time, and that seems to always attract some very top drivers, so he needs to make sure there's ratings decent for that to get into a top split.
Yeah, speaking of the ratings, it's pretty high across all the 3 classes really. MP1 is kind of surprisingly high, because I think usually we get GTE that is the highest SOF of all of these.
Yeah, HPD as well with a decent turnout of drivers today. Just seen the message from Omar Chama. Make the Ford great again. I subscribe to that message. Unfortunately, we can't quite use the keep Ford great, as the man who inspired that quote has changed his motto to. But well, first we make it great and then we keep it great. So it'd be great to see it back onto the circuit soon. Madsen not giving up on this one. Push got the move done a couple of laps ago. But Madsen now with a really good run. Has got a bit of damage on that car. Not sure how much it's affecting his straight line speed. He is gaining, not particularly fast though on Push. This is going to be a brave move if he's going to go for it. There he goes. Puts his nose on the inside. Makes the driver ahead think. But he didn't have to think too much. He stays ahead. Just a little bit of a reminder again about the new league that ApexRacingTV will be covering every Sunday.
Madsen hit the wall.
Ooh. Skimmed the wall there. Has he broken the steering? He seems okay still.
It seems okay, but I mean there is damage to the car, so it's not really what you want. Especially when you're so close to your opponent and you really need every single kilometer of straight line speed that you can get.
These guys still got 2 more laps to go after this one. Seeing that Matt Perez just crossed the line. I say crossed the line. He crossed the line about half a minute ago.
Let's see, further ahead we still have this battle for 4th place between Lockwood and Nurmala. It's still pretty close, but it seems like Nurmala is not quite fast enough right now to really catch up. The gap is hovering around 7-8 tenths.
They are teammates, of course. So if Nomela's going to go for this, it's going to have to be pretty confident about it. 2 drivers who were quite regular in the the World F3 Series. So I think Namella won a race, actually. Lockwood wasn't too bad either. That was a fun series to cover.
And let's
Manson's
see,
still
where
keeping
is
up to the
Farrow?
push,
Yeah,
by the
I'm
way.
just also
But,
looking at where Farrow is. As we are... Are we going to get one more lap? No, this should be the final lap then.
Anja all of a sudden catching up to Orozco. Orozco overtook Anja a while back, probably about 40 minutes ago. And Anja had a little bit of a disappointing few laps, dropped behind Baram Kulov as well. He's now a long way ahead of Baram Kulov. Don't know what happened to Ruslan, but because he was really running well earlier on, got ahead of Anja, and since he made that move, he's been just dropping back. But Anja's got one more lap then to try to get past Orozco, 3/4 of a second behind, and having to overtake that GTE isn't going to help him too much. No issue. Well, actually, no, Orozco had to get out of the throttle a little bit there. Anja will close in. This is where you have to deploy all the energy you got. There's no point in saving any for the formation lap. And he's now within 4/10 of a second. Good run here for Anja. All of a sudden, a big deployment of pace.
Yeah, you really need to get the movement because he is running out of time and out of track. It's only half a lap remaining for these guys to decide this fourth place. Andra is closing in and closing, but I wonder, does he have the energy remaining for the move? There is one good position coming up to make the move here on the straight, but we'll see. Orkozo runs a little bit wider, but so does Andra.
Now, never for these guys. It is now, though, for Matt Barry. He's going to win the LMP1 class and the overall as well in this week's iRacing Le Mans Series. Congratulations to him. Anja has got ahead of Orozco for 4th position. Right at the close, Anja has surprised Ricardo Orozco, closes him by a couple of seconds in the last couple of laps, and he just about nips him to the line. It was Cornelis and Barber rounding out the podium. In the GTEs, it's going to be Sasha Engelhardt taking a comfortable race win, 6.5 seconds ahead of Kane Halliburton. Engelhardt wins the GTE class, and Johan Haar just about managed to force an extra lap in the HPDs. So he has won the HPD class as Johan Haar because he's the only one still running. Jeremiah Morton's race is over. Johan Haar gets a victory lap. Brian Lockwood holds off Marco Namella. Racecraft Racing Esports crossing the line. David Hoth, who lost quite a bit of time right at the end of the race, just behind them. Still just, yeah, pretty much half to cross the line. Again, just a bit of a reminder, across the Apex Racing League's British GT Series, GT3 and Porsche Cup, that championship. 6 rounds coming up over the next month and a half. And check out our Facebook page for a few more details on that series. Johan Hart wins in the HPDs.
Yeah, and before we go to the result, I just want to see the overtake that Andra had. So we kind of missed it as we just switched over, so... Here Andra is coming behind. See, where does it actually happen? Because I don't think it happened in this corner. Andra gets a great run through there and was basically already through before the slow left-hander here. So very clean move.
Nice one from Anja. Had that bit more power to use on the last lap, and he made full use of it. So, the final standings. The winner, Matt Barry, number 1. Starting from 6th place on the grid, didn't look entirely convincing for him, but gradually got his way up through the field, and once he had that very quick pit stop, was comfortably ahead of Fabrice Cornelis. Dominic Barbie led for the majority of the race, really was struggling near the end of the race. They got caught up by Cyanja, who got past Ricardo Roscoe right at the end. Those top 5, by the way, separated by 18 seconds, so really evenly matched. Ruslan Barem Kulov finished in 6th place, just ahead of Jose Plagozaios Langer in 7th. There's Ismail Yakubu, Klaus Dietrich Schultz, and Patrick Pelchat. That was all the LMP1s. I don't think I've ever seen all the LMP1s finish on the lead lap, and they're all within 55 seconds of one another. So really good, high-quality field today. Johan Hart won out in the HPDs. He was a long way ahead of Jeremiah Morton. Jonathan Dutz rounds out the podium. Kelvin Fordance was ahead of David Zapata. Then it's Gustavo Cavalcanti, Frank Schlothman, and Clint Shane Smith. I think Smith having a couple of issues out there. The retirees were ex-trainer Jamie Lee Myers, Fraser Williamson, and Andrzej Sajczyk. In the GTEs, Sasha Engelhardt wins out, and there was quite a comfortable win in the end. Cade Halliburton pipped Dino Filippa in the pit stops, hence why he finished in P2. Brian Lockwood, a good 4th place. Michael Nomella in 5th. David Toth must have had an issue with fuel or something, really struggled in the closing stages after having some terrific pace at the midpoint stage in the race. There's Dennis Neidhart. Dominic Push got ahead and stayed ahead of Nick Madsen. There's Salo Souza, Simon Jacobson, and Alexandros Haj-Navarra. The retirees were Cyril Deforge, Soren Koladicic, Luca Berlich, and Attila Tassi. So, will we have any interviews? Yes, I think we are going to have an interview. Cyanja is joining us, and Cy, congratulations out there. Didn't look great at the midpoint stage of the race, running in 6th place, but that last lap move, congratulations.
It was it was a Hail Mary for sure, because I ran out of fuel just as I was crossing the line. I saw the numbers ticking down on the dash. I was like, should I save to ensure it? Nah, just send it every single time. So I made it. I got 4th. I wish it was for the podium, but like you said, a little bit of bad luck in the mid part of the race. No, took that out of the equation.
What was do you know what was happening with Dominic Farber just ahead? Because you're only 2 seconds behind him in the end. Another lap, and well, to be fair, another lap you would have run out of fuel. But I mean, you weren't far off the podium.
Yeah, I was very surprised when I saw it was closing on Ricardo. I also saw Dominic kind of dropping down the order a little bit. I'm assuming he got floor damage or had a touch with the GTE somewhere, but his pace was fast enough that he could stay ahead of Ricardo. So I don't know how much damage he had. I don't think it was debilitating. That's for sure.
I was saying in the early days of the LMP1s, we saw the top 5 in these races separated by a big margin. But to date, you were only 18 seconds off the lead of some, pro drivers with extremely high iRacing. Do you think you've improved a lot in this car over the couple of years that it's been released?
Oh, absolutely. I think at the beginning I didn't have any idea what I was doing with the setup and stuff. But as you do, you learn. You kind of figure out what works, what doesn't. Getting Motec and logging the telemetry really helped with figuring out what was going on with the suspension, with the aero, and stuff like that. And I don't think we're quite at the level of Dom. I think he still has a couple tenths on me, but we're getting there. And I'm looking forward to seeing him in SCO and Neo this season.
And is that the championships that you're preparing for at the moment, hence why you're running this car?
Oh, absolutely. We had a solid 4th place finish at Le Mans at the Neo last season, so looking to better that for this season.
Well, we certainly wish you the best of luck for that one, Cy. And before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to thank?
Thank you for Ricardo and Ismail and Patrick, who actually helped me put the setup together. We were testing all week for this race and for the race tomorrow. So, and I think we did a pretty good job. Cars in 3rd and 4th and 5th, a little bit further down as well. So I think we're in a good spot for tomorrow.
Thank you very much, Cy, for chatting with us, and hopefully we'll see you next week.
All right, I'll see you next week too.
So that was Cy Anja for Wyvern Racing. And I think that pretty much rounds out our interviews for today. So next week, by the way, we head to Sebring. which of course is another round on the World Endurance Championship. We're getting in a few of them. Safe to say, we also got Kota as well after visiting Spa earlier on in the season as well. So yeah, certainly hope that you'll join us for that one. Of course, on elsewhere on the Apex Racing TV YouTube channel, we've got tomorrow we've got the Sim Racers Asia series. That'll be from midday. Haven't got any Euro V8s unfortunately, but then on Sunday we'll have the Aussie Mixed and Fixed again midday for that one. Then on Monday, you'll have to pop over to the iRacing Esports Network to check out some more GTE action in the World GT Championship. Also, we'll have on our own channel the BSR MX5 Amateur Cup as well on Monday. And then on the iRacing Esports again on Tuesday, we'll have the BSR MX5 Pro Series. And also the BSR TC makes a welcome return next Thursday as well. And of course, next Friday we'll once again be covering the iRacing Le Mans Series. But for now, from me and from Sam as well, we're going to say goodbye and we'll see you next time.